Me and my not Glenn's.
You want the Glens?
No, I'm fine.
Sure.
I'll have Glenn's on Monday, right?
Well, now I don't know. So you keep.
What do you mean you'll have Lens?
Glenn's.
Oh, Glens.
Glenn's.
All Glens?
Yeah. It
Okay.
should be all Glenn's next week.
All right.
Glens all the time.
All right. I feel so fucking naked without a cigar.
Give you a prop one. You just hold it.
I know, right? Are we recording?
Yeah.
Did I ever guys, I told you guys about my law professor that quit smoking like 30 years ago, but he
Yeah.
still had the oral thing,
Oh, really?
like the mechanism. So he would smoke chalk, like in the middle of class. And if you said something particularly stupid before he responded to you, he would smoke chalk. He only threw chalk a couple of times, but like if you said something where he was about to be like, there would be a pause, a dramatic pause. Now, mind you, this guy was incredibly awkward, right? But there'd be a dramatic pause, and the whole class would be like, ooh.
Just because they knew he was smoking.
you know, the thing I
He
got.
caused him to smoke, basically.
Would you stay on that?
What?
The camera switcher?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So, the kick that I
Just
got.
try and follow the dialogue.
I will.
The kick that I got out of our middle school teacher, he would throw an eraser. If you were like not paying attention and you had your head down or whatever, he would throw the eraser at you from the chalkboard.
Yeah.
It's like,
We had what? I didn't have him. He retired before I got there. Thank God, because it might have gotten me thrown out of law school. He would. So like, most of the classes are super long, so there's a break in the middle, right?
sure.
And if you particularly shit the bed on a question, which was common, usually he left out more than a couple. He had stacks of fast food restaurant applications at the podium. And while you were out on break, he would go leave those applications on your desk if you had an answer that was particularly ridiculous. That might have been the end of me in law school. Also might have gotten me thrown in jail.
Oh, he would have had that kind of a reaction.
Oh, I would have been in that dude's face so fast. I mean, I would have had all sorts of special words for that guy. That's just a particular piece of trash. Well, this is my problem with law school generally, right? They're a bunch of fucking awkward-ass bullies. Like, it's hazing. But it's hazing by people that don't know how to haze. Like, they're really fucking awkward about it. Like, I had maybe had two professors that actually, like, didn't buy into the traditional, like, law school thing. These people were just obnoxious. Like, you could teach law school in a year. I mean, if you really want to teach theory, but law schools don't. Like, most law schools are like, let's teach to pass the bar, blah, 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 blah. And then they do it in such a fucking arcane way, it's ridiculous. It makes you want to hit people. I mean, they were terrible. They were terrible. Any of my professors watching, you were garbage. The three of you that weren't, I think you know who you are. Like,
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a reason why there's not an application, but maybe an application, but a program being built.
yeah, here's hoping.
Yeah. But so what do we need? We need a programmer that can.
Oh, I need a UI guy and I need a database guy. And over the past 2 years, I've had one or the other at different times, but they've all managed to shit the bed, so it doesn't matter.
So now we're definitely looking for one that's not going to shit the bed.
Yes, that'd be ideal. I don't know if it's going to happen.
That's asking for a lot there. Did you lock it?
No.
No. Okay.
Should I have locked it?
No.
It didn't seem appropriate. Anyway, what are you smoking? Well, you haven't even lit up yet.
No, I haven't.
Listen,
even lit
I
up
can't
yet.
smoke.
So what? Okay.
So, and you can, and you're not. I don't know how to feel about this.
It starts his feelings. That's all.
Odd.
Yes,
How about odd?
I am prohibited from smoking until Sunday.
Well, you know, let me
which I was fine with it. Like, I don't get cravings for cigars or anything.
Right.
But in here, talking into this thing, like, I feel like I should be smoking my pen. This is ridiculous.
So I
Do you
will
want
be.
one that's just, for placeholder?
No, I don't. I'm okay.
So I will
I don't want to waste a cigar like that.
be your proxy.
Okay. What are you smoking, Casey? Are you even lit? Are you not lit up either?
Mine's going. I was trying to light up, and then you told me to do production things. So.
You know what the real unfortunate thing
Make
is?
sure you're on the camera with her. I'm like, I'm trying to light my fucking cigar, man.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah, hold the phone.
No.
Hey, Casey. I need you to toss Lane a lighter
Why?
Because
I need a lighter.
he doesn't have line of sight with you.
That sounds like a first world problem. Sorry there, bud.
Sure, there's a lighter incoming. You know how hard this is going to be staring into that light?
Oh.
Nice.
Oh.
You saved the generals.
Oh. I figured if I went high up, he would get it.
Yeah, it was only like I could only not see it for a second.
Yeah.
Like when it passed over the light, I'm like, "Oh God, come back into view!" And then I grabbed it. What are you guys smoking? Bellas Artis, the Maduro. Looks like a Maduro.
Yes, Maduro Toro by AJ Fernandez.
Right on. Casey, what do you got?
I've got Umbagog.
Oh, sweet. I like the Umbagog. Although I've had a couple that the draw was effed up on.
Quality control there.
Yeah. Which hasn't been that company's issue yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everyone's going to have them eventually.
Quality problems.
Yeah.
Just slight quality control issues.
Oh, you know what else is unique about this Bellas
There's
Artes?
just so few rollers out there right now.
It's a square press.
Yes.
Box press.
Indeed.
Yeah.
'Tis a box press.
I should have noticed that before.
It matters not. All right.
It smokes the same?
Well, no.
Yeah.
I've been really careful. I've had a lot of box presses explode on me lately. I've
Oh,
been really
really?
careful, like when I cut them. Mm-hmm. So I've started to be really careful about cutting box presses because I don't know if was the cold weather, like getting shipped through the none-degree temperature coming to Tahoe or what. But I've been cautious,
Yeah.
and I've had a couple that just became pieces.
And those trucks aren't heated
No,
at all.
neither are the warehouses, I imagine. Neither are the warehouses, I imagine. Anyway.
It looks like the Knights won.
Does that lock up your bracket, Casey, pretty much?
Well, it's a start. It's a start.
Well, you said there were only a couple teams variants in your guys' brackets. Everyone else had the same.
Yeah, I mean it's mostly so I took Vegas and Edmonton to meet, which that looks like that one's going to happen. I took the Stars to match with the Colorado, but that one probably won't happen
No, because the Stars or because of Colorado?
because Colorado's getting destroyed by the Kraken.
I thought they were up like 2-0.
No,
I thought they were up.
the Kraken are killing it right now.
Really?
Yeah, it's like two. I think it's 2-3.
Okay.
And then I think I need Toronto to win, so that's next game. Toronto will probably beat the Maple Leafs finally,
Okay.
or the Lightning. And then I picked. I think I picked Boston to go to the next round, New Jersey to go to the next round, and the Hurricanes to go to the next round.
I'm just crossing my fingers on the.
Formula One bracket.
Yeah, because there's only one qualifying, or only one practice, which is you can't change after once qualifying starts. You can't change your team.
But essentially, it's one practice and Parc Ferme.
Yeah.
So
and it's at 3:30 in the morning.
yeah.
So, and I can't I don't know any change that I would make now without watching at least one practice. So I'm just
I mean, it's Baku. It's the street race. It's a strong Red Bull track. I think you're gonna be okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I can see is that the Ferraris have problems, and
Yeah, because tire wear on those corners, right?
is trash.
But I don't have any Ferrari drivers. I'm all Red Bull and Aston plus.
So,
Mercedes.
No. You blow me through the cross cap. Joe.
Yeah, he has a show.
So I've got both Red Bull,
Joe
both
Gunn,
Aston,
yeah.
and Joe. Anyway,
No, you're right though. It's very odd.
yeah.
For this
but
format.
my guess is most of the people, at least in this country, and definitely the people I'm competing against, won't make any changes either.
I don't think so. Unless the Mercedes is just that good.
Well, no, but they're not. I mean, no one I know is going to make the change in the middle of the night tonight.
Yeah, no, exactly.
They're not going to make it till next week.
Yeah. That's my only advantage if I was playing with you guys is that I stay up for this shit. So I could
Well, but even
I would be
most,
like in the know. I'd be like, oh, this is great.
most weeks that's not an advantage. It might be an advantage for FP3.
It's definitely an advantage for FP3 or qualifying sometimes. When qualifying is like 3:00 in the morning.
Speaking of Formula One, did you guys see the Formula One Academy announcement that they're going to actually have one? And it's
No.
primarily women.
Yeah, the female series.
Oh, is it a female series?
Yeah, it's I think they call it FW actually. It's the all woman drivers.
FW Academy?
Well, there's a drivers academy.
Oh,
But right now there's a whole FW series
okay.
of Formula girls who are driving.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And it's a whole thing. So, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised that they were trying to, or they were actually executing, being able to create inclusiveness for the women.
Sorry, I'm totally preoccupied with this.
Okay,
I don't know why.
that's okay.
And I'm tasting whiskeys.
Yeah, and I'm just rambling.
That's all this really is, right?
So,
He's got your team's hat on.
hey, yeah, nice lid, bud.
How long before you guys get a pick in the draft?
Third round.
So
End of the third round?
Yeah, we are. Well,
Besides quarterback, we don't
yeah, exactly.
That's the big
That's in development.
question. We'll see.
what do you think? Are they trading Lance eventually?
There's rumors, but there's a denial by John
it was a
Lynch.
non-denial denial. It was a we're not actively shopping him right now.
Yeah, that's code for we'll
If I
trade.
like it or not, I can't.
It's.
I can
I
see
mean, it
why
would
they
be a
do it.
good trade. That's for sure. I mean,
If they got rid of Brock and Lance for Lamar Jackson,
Lamar.
Well, but they inked that deal.
Lamar.
did that happen
Yeah.
today?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, it's 185 guaranteed.
Oh, it's lower than what he wanted.
Yeah, but it's about what he was going to get without an agent.
Yeah, for sure.
Plus, doesn't he keep the franchise tag?
Well, yeah, he can't. So they probably included that in the deal.
Yeah.
But they can't undo the franchise tag at this point. It's too late. So all of his all 37.5 this year is guaranteed.
Never mind. Forget what I said. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No,
You guys
you're
have a good
fine.
night.
Don't worry
Have a
about.
good night,
yeah.
sirs.
Glad you came in.
Have you tried the whiskeys yet, Casey?
Not yet. I was about to.
All right.
Were you
So-
busy?
But yeah, well, no, because we were talking about the women's series.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah,
I didn't know
well,
that was a
so
thing.
last year was the pilot program,
Okay.
and it was basically like it was like 5 races, I think. But it was basically just a test. It was like where does it work out logistically? Like, do we have enough women drivers to do this?
Yeah.
And thankfully, there's enough programs now, because every team essentially has a driver's program.
Yeah.
And so now they've just extended it to, female drivers to add to the program. And it's been pretty popular. I mean, for what it was last year, for the 5-6 races, they race just as hard and just as good as the F2 guys do. So it sounds like it's going to be a predominant actual series of races moving forward. Eventually, I imagine they'll, do some kind of mix. Like we'll get a Danica Patrick come over and try F1.
You think she'll come out of retirement?
No,
I think he's making
know.
an analogy.
Oh,
yeah,
A driver like.
yeah.
oh, okay.
Because I
Sorry.
mean, realistically, the problem right now is there's nothing stopping girls from coming over other than the fact they don't have super licenses.
Yeah.
So it's not really a discrimination. It's just no girls have had enough time to earn the points.
Yeah. Which is problematic. Turns out.
And if they have, they're probably in the rally circuit or they're probably doing MotoGP.
Yeah.
So they're just not in the Formula series of racing. But I give it a couple of years and we'll probably see some girls show up with some super licenses and maybe drive the piss off a Formula One car.
Well, they're shorter races too, so it's not like NASCAR where they got to go for 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly. It's 3-hour race and you're done.
So most of them aren't even 3 hours. All right, so the whiskey. So in some order, we've got the McKenna 10-year bottled and bond, the Knob Creek 12, and the rare breed, Wild Turkey rare breed.
The angry chicken's in there. Yeah. Somewhere. Gobble, gobble.
We don't know where. And I'm at a disadvantage because I'm tasting out of ridiculous glasses.
I feel like once you drink the rare breed, your life should just be narrated by Sam Elliott.
That's good.
would be
that was
entire-
good.
Like all of a sudden, just he's just narrating for you. Your just life is like, oh,
I'd have to do a warning label on the bottle. Don't drink this unless
yeah,
you love the voice of Sam Elliott.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I want it should be like Sam Elliott doing the voiceover, but in the style of the guy from Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh my God.
So he's just like, well, there go them boys again, drinking wild turkey.
There go them Duke boys.
So if
There
you
go
drink
them
enough
Duke
rare
boys.
breed, you're going to hear nothing but Sam Elliott when anybody talks to you.
That's actually true. That's on the bottle already. It says, "Be careful." Turns everyone into Sam Elliott.
So let me ask you a question. Or do you want to continue to
No.
talk about that?
Oh,
So
that one was hot.
That's a little toasty.
They're all little. I mean,
They're all gonna be toasty. I know.
so the McKenna. I should impart some knowledge on you that I already know. Obviously,
Yeah.
I actually don't know the Knob Creek 12. I don't know its proof. It's got to be around 100. McKenna is definitely 100. Rare breed is 114.
1 plus. Okay. There's a lot of horsepower in there.
Yeah. I should be tasting for proof, and I'm not. I'm just tasting to see which ones I like at this point. What were you saying, Will?
So,
Oh, the notes. First of
Yes.
all, let me start. Before I get into this, so we're going to talk about a case because it's political season. So we're going to get into Citizens United a little bit.
okay.
Before that, I had a thought, right? So I'm listening to something, Breaking Points, which is a podcast I listen to usually when I'm walking on the treadmill in the mornings. They go back and forth. There's a right, there's a left, and they kind of talk back and forth. But they were talking about Biden's age substantially and the disaster that is Kamala Harris. Like the public gaffes. I mean, the thing, like sometimes she says things and really no one has any idea what she means.
Right.
The giggle.
The giggle.
And they made a comment. They were talking about it and they're like, listen, the one thing that the Republicans have going for them is that what comes next, nobody wants. Not the Republicans, not the Democrats, no one, right? So if the Republicans were both morbid and evil, which I think some of them probably are both,
Well, it's high probability.
especially before the general, like when in the primary, right?
Sure.
Like when you can help other Democratic candidates get some movement, when you can maybe force Biden to change the ticket, like some super PAC should put together a campaign like the Republicans are running against Kamala Harris and completely ignore the fact that Biden exists.
So is this a strategical move?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, just put all of her gaffes out like she's the one running for president. Don't even mention Biden. And just with the tagline, something like, destiny is terrible, or just something ridiculous, right? Yeah.
So again, this is a smear campaign,
Oh, 100%.
but just against.
It's
Camel.
well, it's a smear. It's obviously like it's a direct smear campaign against Kamala Harris, and impliedly a smear campaign against Joe Biden, because you're saying, look, we're not even running against him because we don't think he's going to make it.
Right. I
Well,
got it.
So this is like my idea when I was saying that like you should just smeander the crap out of somebody and be like, that guy hates puppies, and that guy would burn the rainforest down if he had
Yeah,
to.
same idea.
Same
Basically,
idea.
what Trump does, but strategically pointed at something rather than just this like random unguided missile that,
Right. You want.
I mean,
you want
listen.
precision, not like a machine gun through a forest.
Trump is the dog from Up as a presidential candidate. Ooh, squirrel.
That's fair.
Ooh, squirrel.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, that's Donald Trump. He has absolutely zero attention span.
The funny thing about him is that I think it's calculated. I mean, I think what he does.
Oh, I don't listen. I think the way in which he goes about things is calculated. I think what he's pointed at is absolutely a prisoner of the moment.
Okay. I'm thinking that he's doing a misdirection because he comes from the TV. If you look at him in The Apprentice, you see him do stuff like misdirection. You see him kind of overbearing in a way that it's like, what are you thinking? How is this applying to what you're doing? And I think when he gets sidetracked is because he's gone along with his own misdirection.
I mean, I don't doubt that. I don't know. I don't think he's that. Like, he's not sitting at home mapping out strategy.
No, I think he thinks he already knows it and it's in his head, and that's the problem.
Well, yeah, it's attack.
Yeah.
He's an attack dog.
Okay.
That's all he does.
Is it a little Rottweiler?
Donald Trump runs for president the way that people with a lot of leverage but have no skill negotiate, right? It's just a constant application of leverage. There's no nuance to it. It's, I have a hammer and I'm going to use it.
Yeah. Okay. That description is perfect. When I look at The Apprentice in my head, it's like, oh yeah, he's the guy that says you're fired.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is
You're fired. You're fired.
So he points one finger at the guy that's getting fired or the gal that's getting fired, and he forgets that there's three more pointing back at him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
It's four.
obviously I'm not a Trump.
It's four. It's
I
four.
like it. I like some of the things he did. Don't get me wrong. I just don't believe having a bully in the office with a teenage impulse, basically.
Gas was $2.
You keep saying that.
Gas
Gas
was
was
$2.
$2.
That's right.
You have to be able to discuss some more things about Donald Trump. I appreciate that
Nope,
gas was cheap.
I don't. Have you seen gas these days?
Is it your only concern? You are a monolithic voter on the price of gas.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
I have to fill up my gas tank every 5 days.
Dude, you commute to work and I still drive more than you do.
Yeah, you should also then be concerned about the price of gas. Okay? Yeah, every 5 days I have to fill up my gas tank.
Oh God, I'm like every 3.
Yeah, so you should also be worried about the price of gas. When life was good, when gas was $2.
I am worried about the price of gas. I am worried about other things more.
And I wasn't, because when Donald Trump was in office, granted, he's a buffoon. Yes, he's a moron. But nobody wanted to fuck with us because they had no idea what he was going to do.
Yeah, this is the madman defense, right?
Like that, and I'm fine with it. The Mad King George, no one wants to fuck with Mad King George, keeps people away. Now, he needed a very clever cabinet to go along with that persona and do actual real work while he was playing the Mad King George. We could have got a lot more done.
Yeah, he forgot that part.
Yeah, but gas was $2, and no one wanted to fuck with us.
All right.
And North Korea shut up for 2 days. So, hey, it was fun.
I mean,
So
that's a record.
Yeah.
I kind of like that thought about if the Republicans were smart, they would do a campaign, as you suggest.
It doesn't cost him anything.
Right.
I mean, listen, especially it doesn't cost Donald Trump. It doesn't cost anything because he's gonna get the nomination pretty much, unless there's some miracle candidate out of somewhere, right? The other candidates are so far behind and look so weak they can do whatever they want,
Right.
right? Like one is negotiating from a place of absolute power, and the other is negotiating from a place of absolute desperation. Turns out the benefit of both is that you can do whatever you want, right? So let's do some shit. At least it'd be entertaining.
Well, I mean, who would you like if you could go back to like the last couple of campaigns, right? Are any of those Republican guys worth trying to bring forward?
No, there's no one.
No.
And I mean, I think everyone thought DeSantis was just going to be a stronger presence than he is, and he's not. He looks incredibly weak.
Well, yeah, he lost to Disney.
Well, he's losing to Disney. Now it's going to court,
Yeah.
which who knows? I mean, listen, court's like a fucking judge, like a fight going to the judges.
Yeah, but if you get beat up by the Mouse House, I mean, how much power do you really have?
Not much.
So you were talking about Citizens United earlier.
All right, so Citizens, I went down this rabbit hole of Citizens United, right? Because I never read the case. I went to law school and I never read the case. So, and you hear about the case and it talks about money in politics and it opened the gateway and now it's a disaster. Now, admittedly, the result, so this is my problem. So the effects of Citizens United have been an absolute fucking dumpster fire. It's terrible. Like, it's terrible. It created leverage that I think everybody saw coming, but in the way that it has changed politics is a huge deal. So forever, I'm like, hey, overturn Citizens United. Like, terrible decision, overturn it. Not that this court would do it, but why not? Let's have some fun.
So, real quick though,
Yeah.
just briefly, what is Citizens United?
So Citizens, I'll go into this, right?
Okay.
So Citizens United was an organization. It was a corporation,
Okay.
right? The fundamental part of the case, like you have to make some differentiations. Basically what it said was, so before Citizens United, there were a bunch of cases and it prohibited corporations from spending money on political speech, especially inside certain timeframes. So like 30 days and 60 days from elections, things got tight, right?
Yep.
And so they're like the FEC, like you'd have to submit for advisory opinions from the FEC. Is this political speech? Is this political speech? Whatever. Now, the first distinction you need to make is this is about independent expenditures and not about contributions. So these are not direct contributions to candidates. These are corporations spending their own money for their own purpose.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Like they believe in this candidate or this issue, so they go out and they create an ad.
Okay.
Oh, so like
And they buy media time.
like an ad paid for by such and such.
Yes,
Right.
100%.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Right?
that's been the anyway. Go
So
ahead.
corporations were prohibited from spending direct expenditures. Now they could do things like create political action committees, which had a whole bunch of things, like a whole bunch of different reporting requirements. And part of the problem is it was a challenge for smaller corporations, right? Of the like 500 million corporations in this country, Citizens United was worried about 200 of them, give or take. Probably more, but you understand the principle, right? Like the wealthiest at the top is who we're
Right.
talking about.
Bloomberg.
But Citizens United didn't prohibit just them
No.
from spending on political speech. It prevented all corporations, all businesses from spending their own money on political speech.
I don't see how that can. I mean, that's
Well, it turns out that's what the Supreme Court said. The Supreme Court was like, basically everyone, when people talk about Citizens United, they say money is speech, which there is exactly one line in the opinion of the court that says pretty much just that, right? And it's not wrong. Like, you're not wrong if you say that. Like, what they said was money spent on political speech is tantamount to the speech itself, more or less, right? But so these are the problems. So, and I just went into it assuming I was looking for reasons that it should be overturned and how to do it.
okay.
And I came out the back end and went, nope, that case was rightly decided, I think. Now, do I still think the results of the case are trash? 100%. But I don't think, so here's the problem. Political speech is protected speech. It's not just any protected speech. It's not like me talking to someone on the street.
Right.
It's the crux of the whole system, right? It's the most protected speech. It's the foundation of what we do.
Right.
Talking about politics for purpose.
Absolutely. And I don't think it should be regulated.
Well, that's what the court said, right? The court came in and said, why are we prohibiting people based on who's speaking from saying what is otherwise protected speech? Right? So, and there were some problems, right? So I've got a couple of points, right? So first, the question is it proper to prohibit otherwise protected speech because of the source?
I don't believe so.
And the court said no.
Okay.
And I disagree. Like I agree with that. I disagree with the case before, which was Austin, which disallowed it. I think that the speech is more important than the speaker.
Absolutely.
So, and I've got a bunch of points here, right? Like, so if you prohibit, how do you determine, so some of the questions, right? You say corporations can't speak. Well, we're only worried about the most profitable corporations. Well, how do you differentiate? First of all, what's a corporation?
Well, why?
Like, who's doing business? What about all the small corporations? What about the corporations that are formed specifically to give people in small groups a voice that they otherwise wouldn't have over political matters? The NAACP, the NRA, the Sierra Club. What about unions? All of these people are prohibited from speaking under the previous precedent.
Under Austin.
And those are what you would consider, whether you agree with what they're saying or not. That is a proper purpose and protected speech. And we're prohibiting it because of the source.
Yeah. I
Right?
mean,
So this is my question.
Okay.
Now, let's go a little bit deeper. Right? So, well, it's okay if they speak. Well, how do you determine that?
you can't do that.
What's the delineating line? We've already had a case where the Supreme Court, where they were trying to differentiate between wealthy Americans and poor Americans and who could speak when. And they're like, yeah, I can't do that. That's a nonsense.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're going to get into a giant mess. Right? Same problem with corporations. Right? There's no way to do it.
Well, anybody can speak, and whether you're and in the tax code, I think they recognize corporations as individuals. So if you're recognizing corporations as individuals in, say, the IRS, the federal government.
Well, now you say that, but I want you to understand why this is a question. Right? It's not that obvious, because when the largest corporations can buy out media time in small markets in its entirety, more or less, for political purpose, they can control candidate selection, right? And this is the other thing people don't, like, people thought it was going to be a problem between Republicans and Democrats, but buying time and what they can fundraise is relatively easy. The bigger problem is intra-party, where, so imagine before Citizens United, you have two ovals that represent the political parties, right?
Sure.
Republican, Democrat. And they largely overlap. And each oval is wide.
Yeah.
Right? So there's a significant overlap. What Citizens United did, in my opinion, wasn't to move those two ovals further apart. The two ovals, in fact, didn't move at all. What it did is shrink the width. So where there was overlap before, now you have two silos that are massively apart in the middle, because the candidates that they run have to subscribe completely to whoever's paying, because they can't out fundraise the super PACs. So if a super PAC backed by the Democratic Party comes in and says, you back these things or we'll primary you, if you don't, you get primaried. So you have to buy in. You have to buy in to be on your party's ticket, not to get elected.
Just to be on the ticket. Interesting.
So, but the result has definitely made politics worse. So the question, which we'll get to later, is how do you balance that out? Like, where's the responsibility? If you can't overturn Citizens United, but the effect is in fact garbage, how do you deal with the garbage?
Cost cap.
Again, I mean, there's cost caps on soft money, there's cost caps on direct donations, but how do you cap someone's individual expenditures?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And so this is the other question, right? So when you're talking about, even if you're talking about cost caps, when you're talking about these things, does Congress even have the authority to make these laws? Isn't that authority in and of itself an undue influence, right? So they make a law that says you can only spend this much, or corporations can't spend money on political speech inside 30 days, right? Prohibit corporations from speaking. So now you've empowered an agency, probably the FEC again, Federal Elections Commission, to submit advisory opinions. Now, the Federal Elections Commission, even though it's supposed to be neutral, is at least on some level a political body, right?
Right.
So what does it take to weaponize that decision?
Money.
Right? When does media become books?
What do you mean?
What?
Books.
Movies.
Oh,
Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Fuck. Everything written by a right or left winger in the last 20 years. Like, when does publishing a book become political speech? Now, in the case, it says that this is probably subject to an as-applied challenge where it would win. How long does that take? How long does the decision itself take? What if just the delaying of the decision takes 120 days and puts you outside the election window? Do we really want, like, what this amounts to is Congress, the chosen, influencing who does the choosing.
well, I don't think Congress should have a part in this.
Well, but that's where the laws come from. That's where the statute that created Citizens United as a case came from.
I see, and Supreme Court is saying no or yes on
Yeah.
these actions that you're taking.
I mean, these are real questions, right?
Right.
So I'm reading through this, and there's all this nuance, like what's political speech? What's a corporation? Who does the deciding? What's the decision-making process? And the end result is that there is, and this isn't, we're not talking about money fines. These are felonies. Like there's felonies attached to officers for these things, right?
Right.
So there is no result other than chilling what is otherwise protected speech. And I don't know any legal way that that's not the case. So then the question becomes, that's what makes me say, I think it was rightly decided. I think that you are protecting the speech, not the speaker. More speech is better, but we have more speech all in one place. So how do we deal with that is the question.
Because it's so focused in the one spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. The problem is, I don't believe speech is free. I mean, you're free to say what you need to say, unless it's salacious or slander.
Well, there are certain types of speech that aren't protected, right?
Right.
Like incitement,
Yeah.
slander, like.
Yeah.
But now be careful when you say free, right? Free from governmental consequences,
Yes.
not free from consequence. Like you're not free to say whatever you want while you're at your job.
No, you're not.
Like you're not going to go to jail for what you said, but you might get fired.
Exactly. And but that's not the government saying you can't say this or you can say this. Because you have so much money to support whoever you want to support, that doesn't make sense that you're going to say, hey, look, you can't have this speech. That's where I kind of like go, wait a minute. And I don't have the background that you have, obviously, but as a citizen of the United States, I want to definitely protect the speech.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that's right, but I still think it's something that we need to deal with on the other end. Then, if it's not a legal remedy,
Right.
what's the fix? Any ideas?
I don't know if there should be a fix because it's not, I don't believe it's broken.
Oh God, I mean, not saying our political
Oh, no.
infrastructure right now isn't broken.
No.
In my opinion, a huge reach.
Well, no, absolutely. I mean, our government is broken. Yes.
I mean, I think the effects of Citizens United have been exceedingly negative. It definitely didn't make our system better.
No. I mean, it's kind of like making gun laws. You know, you're going to make gun laws and it's going to penalize the people that need the right to do something, you know, or have the right to do something. And they're abiding by what the law is, but there's a political push against those members rather than the members that are abusing guns.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're slightly different, but I would say that in some ways they're the same, right? Like when you're talking about gun laws, are school shootings a problem? 100%.
Right.
Do I think that restricting access to guns by law-abiding citizens is the answer? No, I don't.
Exactly.
Do I think there needs to be an answer? Yes, I do. So again, like we're looking for fixes to problems where I don't think a legal remedy is appropriate. Casey, what do you think? You're listening to all this.
Well, I'm sorry. What was the question?
We're just talking just generally. Like, what do you think? I mean, I was telling him, I think that the effects of the decision in Citizens United have been exceedingly negative, but I don't think that a legal remedy is appropriate. So what do you think? Like, what is the answer?
I mean,
Is there a remedy? And if so, what is it?
Well, I mean, it's a game, right?
GAME
Yeah,
or
it's a
GANG?
game.
Well, yeah, but how do we?
You're playing a game. Citizens United is just a game, so you just have to play the game the right way.
Yeah, but who's not playing it right is the question. Now, I think I have it. I think I have at least part of an answer right.
Well, I mean, the problem is that the rules don't apply to everybody, right? If I have the biggest stick and the most money, I can buy out all the political I want, right?
Yeah, but you can't change that. So what's the answer to that?
Well, I mean, I guess.
That's a good question.
So what? Removing Citizens United would be removing paying for political.
Overturning Citizens United would. So yes, it would prohibit corporations from spending overtly. Would they find ways around it? Probably. Would it be in the same level? Probably not. But 100% they would still spend. Would it control some of this issue? Yes. Would it stop it entirely? No. More importantly, would it chill otherwise protected speech from people that we want to speak? 100%.
All right. Well, then the answer is obvious.
Which is?
Sponsorship jackets.
Like, no, right? Like the answer is,
You wear a jumper with who paid for your campaign.
and conveniently, a lot of like the YouTube creators and podcasters are already doing this. Like Joe Rogan's made the term popular, right? The answer is long form discussions and a well informed electorate, right?
Well,
Yeah, but we don't have that.
yeah, good luck with that one. Buddy.
No, I know, but listen, not only do you have to come to an independently and achieved opinion, a well vetted, independently achieved opinion, right, of issues and people and the like.
Right.
Here's
Essentially, that's
here's
what's
the
supposed
hard
to happen,
here's
yeah.
the hard part. That's the easy part.
Right.
The hard part is that you have to trust other people to do the same.
Right.
Because people need to stop trying to exert control over other people in the political process. Because otherwise you can't have that long form discussion.
Well, that's why my civics and econ professor said, realistically, if you made everybody pay $20 to vote, it would change the entire spectrum, because then people would actually care about it.
Yeah, it might, but it would be a undue burden on voting. It
Yeah.
would be an undue burden on a constitutional right.
Yeah, I mean, it would.
Yeah.
Pesky
Oh, no,
con-
not that.
The pesky Constitution gets in the way for that one. I mean, I thought about it, and he had a point. You know, if I have to pay $100 to vote, I'm going to be damn well informed on who I'm voting for at that point.
Yeah.
But you can't, I mean,
Yeah, but you can't ask people to do that because voting is a freedom of, it's a freedom thing.
I think if all we do is just measure the sources, right? Because it's true that they can buy up all the political time, but they can spend all the money they want. They don't get direct control over any more votes.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, is because again, when I came up with that idea to like slander someone because they don't like puppies, right? Like, legitimately, you just get on there and be like, Senator whatever hates puppies, total cat man. Who's checking that?
yeah.
Who's gonna go? He actually has plenty of dogs. He's not really a cat man. Like, someone's gonna have to pay money to de-slander that, right?
Well, I mean,
Like,
technically,
if you just came out legitimately was like, he hates Italian food, someone has to come out with be like, he doesn't hate Italian food, he, like, there has to be that, right? Because that's the where we are in the world.
I ran out of beef.
Is it comes out of like nowhere, all these campaign articles, and they're half of them are so stupid. Like last year's campaign, those commercials just were on repeat over.
Oh, I know, and they're
over.
ridiculous,
and they're
right?
just the most terrible thing in the world. And like the one we had for that senator, or not senator, it was like a district attorney or something like that. And the quote was always, "She said he should be hanging from a rope off of a crane or something."
Oh, the attorney general for
Yeah.
Nevada? Yeah, that was terrible.
I was like, who paid for that? First of all, who allowed that to go on? And I mean, cool, go ahead and shit on someone, but why don't you just pay for like real campaigning? Give me the facts.
Because real campaigning is hard, and spending other people's money is easy.
I understand that, but you know actually the problem is that I think the problem is quite obvious. Is there's too many lawyers in our political system?
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that.
Because I'm pretty sure the last 15 or so presidents we've had all have Juris Doctorate degrees,
That's fair.
and that's ridiculous.
Well, Trump doesn't have a JD.
Yeah, I was just going
What,
to
what does
say.
Trump have?
He's got an MBA
Oh,
from Wharton. Wharton?
Wharton
Yeah.
okay. Oh, well, it's okay.
in business, right?
One out of 15 didn't have it,
All right.
but the rest have Juris Doctorates. They're lawyers. They play the lawyer game, right?
Yes, they play inside a particular box.
Right.
Right.
And is Citizens United not designed to help them play in that box?
Ish. I mean, lawyers would figure out a way to play inside their box, whether or not Citizens United exists.
But does it help lawyers? Is it
No,
more
I would say it
lawyer
helps
related?
business more than lawyers.
Oh, okay.
It removes restrictions, right? Which is lawyers don't make their money with less restriction.
Oh, true. That's fair. That's fair.
Like now they don't have to. Now there's no well, are you a corporation that can speak or aren't you? Or is it inside the 60-day window or 30-day? Or what does the FEC advisory opinion say?
Then-
How much are you spending? Is it over the limit? What is the speech political speech or is it something else? This is what lawyers do. And once you take away the restrictions, the lawyers sit at home and twiddle their thumbs.
So, all right, then we go back to my original solution, which is sponsorship jackets.
Yeah, no, 100% the answer, right?
It is sponsorship jackets.
Here's the other thing I thought, right? What we need is a website where you can look up a candidate. And then, so from candidate, it takes you to funding agencies, like who's bought ads that support the candidate, who's bought ads that support their issues, who's bought ads in their districts on their airtime.
And this is all public record, right?
Yeah, well, no. Yeah, it is. Yeah. So then from there, you take that, so candidate to funders, and then from funders, you take it to the issues that those funders have supported in the past and where, and likely why, right? So you can search this for every candidate. You just go to a candidate, and you're like, oh, he's funded by so-and-so supports these issues, therefore, candidate supports those issues.
So just like a big spider web map of
Yeah.
money and political backing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, listen,
That website would get shut down so fucking quick.
follow the money,
It would
right?
get shut down so quick.
How effective would that be, though?
Well, it would be immensely effective because then you'd be like, oh, look who supports who. You'd be like, wow, look, oh, yeah, big pharma. Yeah.
100%. Anyway, let's move on. When we actually get a website up, we are going to post show notes for every episode, literally what we're looking at. So if you guys want, if anyone wants to comment or ask questions or basically just tell us we're ridiculous and why, there's your opportunity. Casey,
Yes.
do you have a favorite whiskey?
I found that A was the smoothest,
Okay.
and I liked A. B had a bit of a kick to it,
Yeah.
but it was like a good kick. C is a little rough,
Okay.
and I didn't really discern anything out of C that I enjoyed
So,
necessarily.
so you're pulling the same order I am, A, B, C.
is that what you're feeling?
Yeah, I went A, B, C for sure.
Yeah, C just was like,
And it's not close. A is
no, A is fantastic. Yeah. Which makes me think it's the rare breed. Or B is the rare breed.
Listen, emotionally,
Which one did you finish
I
first?
want A to be the rare breed.
Wait, but which one did you finish first?
Well, I finished B first.
So see,
Is that because I didn't pour enough?
no, I think because knowing him, he subconsciously knew which one was the actual good one. So he just drank it because he was like, "Oh, I know this."
No. Like I had to A/B test B and C,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have to start numbering these 1, 2, and 3 so I can say A/B test without sounding like an idiot. I had to side by side B and C to figure out which one I liked more.
Right.
The answer was B in the end. A was my favorite pretty much from the outset.
Yeah. A is really good.
So
But
A
I think
is your number one.
yes,
That's
and then
for sure.
which one is
we're both A, B, C
Yeah,
again.
it's ABC again. For sure.
If I had to guess,
Is
I think B is the I think B is the Knob Creek and C is the McKenna. No, I think B is the McKenna and C is the Knob Creek, and I think A is the rare breed. but there's definitely an emotional investment in this.
This one's for pride.
What do you think, Casey? You going to disagree with me? on
You
anything?
know, I that's tough. What'd you say? You say rare breed McKenna?
Rare breed McKenna Knob Creek. That's what I'm doing.
Okay, see, I think B is Knob Creek.
And C is McKenna?
C is McKenna. But I think A is the rare breed.
All right. So we agree on A and we're reversed on B and C.
Yes.
Okay.
Because I remember the Knob Creek being smooth, but
So wait, you think, hold on. So 3, 1, 2, and you're 3, 2, 1. All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Yeah, what
you
do you
guys
got?
ready?
Yeah.
So you're absolutely correct. A is the rare breed.
Okay.
So I'm going to jump over to C
Okay.
because you'll be able to determine what B is really quickly.
Yeah.
C is knob.
C is knob.
C is
I
knob.
nailed it.
You did.
he cheats. He cheats every time. He cheats.
I thought you were gonna go. I thought you were gonna swap BC. I saw that consternation going on, and then you switched, and I go, oh, okay, he's on it. He got it. So
All right. I mean, again, listen, none of these are bad whiskeys. I like them all, but A was the standout, and B was very good.
Yeah, A was delicious.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm happy about this. Very happy about A.
but you know what I have to say about Casey?
What?
You're consistent.
Am I?
Yes. You always get the B and C or the A and B off.
Yeah, for not being a Somm,
Yeah.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does being a Somm have to do with tasting whiskey?
Because you know palates and tastes and shit. You have a memory for like these notes of things that pop in there. So I just imagine you just know whiskey, like you know wine, and you just go, "Oh, I know what that is."
I'm slowly building a bank of knowledge on whiskey.
Exactly.
Yes,
But
you are.
I have tasted
And how long have you been
Tens
drinking
of thousands
bourbon?
of wines.
Yeah. How long have you been drinking bourbon neat?
how long have I been drinking bourbon neat
In a
and
bucket?
trying to drink different stuff?
Yes.
Just a couple years.
Yeah, just a couple. Okay.
How long have I been drinking bourbon neat?
Yeah.
Since I was fucking, I don't know, 19.
Exactly. Exactly. Know your role and shut your mouth.
Surprised there wasn't a jabroni in there.
You are a jabroni. You know jabronis.
Oh my God.
So, I was looking at some articles online.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and a few of them are about the big melt, the big snow melt.
Oh yeah, it's starting to flood stuff.
Yeah, and they've closed Yosemite as a result of the
Oh
snow
yeah,
melt.
well Yosemite. So you know Yosemite after 90 whatever it was. No, I never remember it's 96, 97, or 97, 98. I think it was 96, 90. No, it's not. I don't know.
It was
Whatever
in
year.
the
it was.
90s.
Late 90s.
Late 90s.
Right? And so Yosemite used to be 3 times. It used to have 3 times the campgrounds it has now. And the valley flooded in the New Year's floods and wiped out the campgrounds. They didn't rebuild them. But the whole valley's in a floodplain.
Right. Well, of course it is.
It is kind of in a big bowl.
Yeah, right?
And you got what, 3 falls going into it or more?
Oh, you got a lot more than that.
Okay.
You have 2 major water systems flowing into Yosemite. So you have Yosemite Creek and the Merced River.
Right, but that's out of Yosemite. Those
But it's also into Yosemite. So Yosemite Creek flows from Twine Meadows into Yosemite through Yosemite Falls.
okay.
And the Merced River, the source of the Merced River, I don't know what it's called before that, what it's called up top. I think it's still called the Merced River, is Nevada and then Vernal Falls. But they're the same system.
Okay.
But like if you were doing that right now,
Uh-huh.
there'd be 30 waterfalls flowing into that valley
Sweet.
that you wouldn't see the rest. Like they'll be gone in 3 weeks.
Well, maybe not with the big snow melt. I mean, with
Well,
the
is-
amount of snow that we
Is
we
the
actually
valley
got.
floor flooding too? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, you know that. I don't know if I've ever showed you. I don't know if we saw it. So the where we parked,
Yeah.
right outside that was a meadow, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And across that meadow was a wood bridge.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Or a
it-
walking bridge.
So like a third of that it's a walking bridge. Like it's just a wood platform
Yeah.
through the meadow.
Yeah.
But like a third of that walking bridge right now is underwater because that meadow's flooded.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Which would be cool if we could get in
I
there.
mean, that'd be
I mean,
cool.
yeah.
Just sans the mosquitoes.
But remember, you're going to get wet.
Yeah.
I
I mean, listen, we're not going to be able to get over Tioga until July.
Yeah, it's going to be a long time.
True.
Yeah,
This
that's
the snow is impressive.
yeah. Well, in 1617 it was July. It opened July 2nd.
Okay.
It opened right before the 4th of July.
That's coming in from the backside. I was thinking,
Yeah, but the problem is going to the front side like 6.5 hours from here.
yeah, I know.
That's a long drive.
That's what I was going to ask you about is would you be interested in going to Yosemite?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. Listen, I'm always down to get into the valley.
No, but I mean, are you willing to do a 6-hour drive?
Yeah, if I got company, I'll do it.
Okay, good.
I love the drive to Yosemite. I just love hanging out down there.
Right.
Anyway, but yeah, it's closed. It's probably closed for a week.
Do some car camping?
Yeah, they frown upon that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense that they would.
You might be able to find something in Merced early season, like just outside the valley,
Yeah, but it's
or whatever that little town is. I forget the name of it.
Sonora?
Mariposa.
Mariposa.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, but that's going to be pricey.
No, not this time of year. Maybe not.
It'll be more well.
Listen, when Yosemite is definitely fair weather campers, or like mountains and like the fire falls, right? None of them are fair weather campers, but it's the fire falls in Yosemite, so people flock to it to take pictures.
Right.
But if it's like lots of mosquitoes, lots of water, not sure you want to be here, most of the people that go to Yosemite will
Won't
cancel their
go.
reservations. Yeah. Anyway, Casey, what do you got before we fucking end this nonsense where I can't smoke? So disappointing. So disappointing.
Does it hurt?
Normally I don't crave cigars any other time,
it's
but
not
in
that
here,
it hurts. It's just when you're sitting in here,
when you're sitting in the shop, like
there's like it's a weird need.
there's a whole room of fucking cigars over there. I can just walk in and take whatever I want, except I can't because I can't fucking smoke it.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling being in here.
Yes.
Like
Without smoking.
yeah, like,
Yeah,
'cause
I
there-
could see that.
There are days I'll go try to go like a few hours without smoking, and it like time seems to slow down.
Well, the other part of that too is if there's people walking around in here, it's like the Cinnabon effect.
Yeah,
People will walk in. People are
will
more
smell
likely
it
to walk in and smoke.
they're like, "Ooh, what's
If
that?"
you have something, when I was working in here and I didn't want to smoke, I would light up a cigar and I would take 4 or 5 puffs off of it, right? Put it down, walk around, do a bunch of stuff. Every 15 minutes or so, I'd walk up and take a couple puffs off it just so the smell was lingering in the air so people would walk in. And if people walked in, the other thing is they're more likely to stay if you're engaging them and smoking.
Yeah.
Right? Because they want someone who's doing what they do, who's hosting them.
Right.
So as soon as they walk in, now you're smoking. Like, guess what just happened? You're smoking.
Yep,
And you know what else?
the smoky effect.
You know what I miss? Or not I miss, but when you worked here,
Yeah.
you had a pitching wedge.
Oh, yeah. I would chip across the floor all the
Yeah.
time.
That hasn't been done in a
Oh
while.
my God, my golf game. I went out to the range today.
Oh, okay.
I was working on something. Doesn't matter. It felt so good.
Good.
Like, so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You ready for the Masters?
In a year.
It's staying.
Wait, have you been playing though? Have you getting your average up so you can play in the pro am?
You at the open qualifier?
Yeah.
No, they moved it into Reno, so I skipped it.
Oh,
I'll play it next year when they move back to Edgewood. I want to play at Edgewood because I own that course.
oh, that's fair.
Like,
That's fair.
it plays perfectly to my game. I know every hole. I don't know the greens as well as I could, but I know every miss. I know every club. I know every layup club. It's easy.
But still, you have to get your average down, don't you?
No, it's right there. I mean, I'd have to get it down like 0.4.
Oh, okay.
But if I just went out and played, like if I play a bunch this summer, it'll be there by the end of the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to get out to the range as well.
Yeah, man.
Which both right? Both ranges.
Oh yeah, both. 100% both.
Yeah.
I need to go out and it's been months.
Yeah.
And that is a very perishable skill.
It's-
Much more perishable than golf, I'd say.
It's been a long time since I've gone,
Yeah.
for sure.
Are we talking about the range?
Both. We're talking about the other range.
Right. Okay.
The pew pew one.
Pew pew.
Yeah.
Pew pew, bang bang, pop pop. Click click boom.
We going to get you to fire that 4-bore from
No.
Kentucky?
No. Even if you rented it and showed it to me. Well, okay. So, honestly speaking,
Yeah.
if a 4-bore showed up at the range, I'd
You
probably give it a
wouldn't-
shot.
You wouldn't shoot it.
I mean, did you see? Listen, that dude has a 500-pound bench press, and he was
he's
antsy
yoked.
jumping up and down with that weapon.
True.
That
I've
first,
never seen him that afraid.
that first slow mo, like when you watch his shoulder go back,
Oh, it ripped his whole arm off the
like
gun.
at least a foot.
Yeah.
Like what do you brace your shoulder against?
Oh, I don't think you'd want to. Honestly, if you braced your shoulder against
You
anything,
smash
it would
it.
just shatter your shoulder.
Yeah.
So how do you fire that thing?
You put it underneath, you put it in the armpit. That's what I would do.
Oh God, it would.
That's 200 pounds of.
The barrel would smack
Yeah,
you
it
in the
would
nose as it
come
flipped
back.
out of your hand.
I didn't say it would be a smart move.
Rip
I
your
just,
freaking hand off.
it'd be,
When you watch it, you see his hand like still holding onto the trigger
right.
as it left his hand.
Yeah.
Like his whole hand is frozen, and the trigger's like 6 inches back from where it was, and his hand's like, "Oh shit, it's not holding on anymore." Like,
Well, maybe I wouldn't shoot it.
I mean, I would be nervous as
Yes.
I would I would have it in my hands. I would have it loaded, and I would be doing the same thing he was doing. Like, okay, all right.
no, because it's like asking Mike Tyson to punch you in the shoulder. Like, legitimately, it's like, "Hey, Mike, go ahead, hit me in the shoulder. It's fine." Like,
It'll be okay.
yeah, it'll be okay.
I can take it.
No, not even with like a pad.
Oh my God.
Like what? You need like 10 pillows. Like, okay, I got this.
All right. You guys have any idea what we're talking about next show? Where I will get to smoke again? You're going to smoke the Bewitched next show, right?
I am going to smoke the Bewitched. Anything else? Let's see. No, but I'm sure something will pop up.
All right.
No, I
Casey,
mean,
what are you
just,
looking at?
You know, you just watch.
Oh, we'll probably discuss Formula One and the results.
We will.
I know.
we
See if
will.
I'm still in the lead in my fantasy
Yeah,
league.
We will see if there's some changes. If it's actually enjoyable to watch, like Australia was.
I am incredibly tempted to swap out Perez for Russell at some point. I think that'll be the move eventually. Maybe not.
I thought Perez gets you points because he's always overtaken.
Yeah, he does. He gets me overtaking points.
Yeah, whereas Russell gets third and he stays third.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get the overtake points. You'll get the finishing points.
But if Mercedes speeds up,
Well, that's a big if.
That's it.
I know.
It's a big if. With James Allister coming back, it's going to take some time for that to freaking. I mean, they should have got rid of him in the first place, if we're being honest. I thought that was a big mistake. I know why they did it, because they needed to keep him when that cost cap came around. So they shipped him off to chief technical director so that they didn't have to pay that other field as much to save him from being like out of the cost cap range and taking the penalty. But he really shouldn't have left as technical director. Like, chief technical director is not the same as technical director.
Yeah, not as hands-on.
Exactly. And I think they need him to be hands-on.
Well, they've admitted. I mean, they have new side pods, right, that are coming at some
Well,
point.
so they have two sets. They have the zero pods that they're working on
Yeah.
because they've technically, like Lewis Hamilton said, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. He said, if we were to put on pods like the Mercedes or like the Red Bull or the Ferrari, we would lose a ton of speed already.
So he's saying that car is slow.
Yeah, so it's
To
not
begin
it's
with.
not just a problem with the side pods. Like, there's a bigger issue at hand.
Yeah.
And I mean, watching that video about how the suspension setup is aiding the Red Bull,
Yeah.
I imagine that is also a big factor for Mercedes, how their suspension set up,
Yeah.
because they have a different setup than Red Bull does.
Is there anything you can do about that midseason though?
Well, it depends on how many. I mean, it depends on how much money you have.
I mean, that's a big change.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And it's a big change if you F it up.
Yeah, because you're just changing directionality. You're producing new parts, new mounting points.
Yeah.
Like the front body cone has to change, the back body cone has to change.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that's a
the
massive
the rear
endeavor.
diffuser. I mean, you're basically building a brand new car.
Yeah.
So I imagine that the data from last year is what's driving the upgrades for this year, but those upgrades are not. They can't just show up, And the real question is, whose car are they on? Because, again, I think George gets the upgrades and the fruits of labor after Lewis has just beaten the crap out of him.
You think so?
And I think that's why Lewis's car is always terrible, because he is consistently swapping out parts because he's got 20 years of driving experience.
Yeah.
The guy who's got 20 years on you is the guy I want to be like to tell me what feels right and what feels wrong if we put this piece on. And I guarantee you he can do that in his sleep.
Yeah.
So I feel like the day Lewis's car is like not fighting Lewis anymore is the day that you'll see Mercedes really start to shine. Because that's when they'll be like, oh, we've got it now. If Lewis is back to being on rails, then Mercedes shows up.
Yeah.
But right now, you can tell he fights that car every day, and it beats the shit out of him every day because he just looks tired.
That's fair.
So, it's funny is you were talking about spending caps and whatnot in Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if the dollar goes to digital, goes to
Why? How is that? I don't understand.
Are you talking about digital currency?
yes.
Like,
So,
like,
I mean,
like imperial credits?
and not necessarily digital currency, but my question is more about how does it affect globally? If it goes to a digital system.
It's not going to go digital.
I don't think it'll ever be entirely digital.
Okay.
It would. There's one way money goes digital, and that's a unified global economy.
Oh God, we're hundreds of years away from that.
Exactly.
We're not in Star Trek yet.
Yeah. So when we get to Star Trek, we'll be fine. 'Cause
Even then, it
you
still
can't-
becomes problematic.
Well, yeah, because you can't just change one currency to digital.
We don't have the technical infrastructure for that, even in this country,
Right.
for an entirely digital currency.
Plus, we couldn't agree on changing the look of the money, let alone it's how it works.
I mean, will there be a digital alternative? Probably eventually. Will it eliminate other currency? I doubt it.
Well, that's what we have that already.
But we'll
Yeah, I mean, we already do that.
Yeah, you have
We just
to-
don't do it through government enterprise.
Yeah, like you have a tap system on your phone. You want digital currency? Tap your phone.
no.
Digital currency.
So
Done.
no, I think Lane just hit it. Is the government getting involved in switching from paper backed money
Yeah,
to
yeah. Global economic unity is logistically the only way that happens.
Speaking of global economy, supposedly there's a few countries that buy oil from Russia that are going to switch to purchasing it by yuan. Or
Yuan.
Yuan.
Yeah. Brazil. A couple others.
Yeah.
They're trying to eliminate the petrodollar. And they're doing it specifically to avoid sanctions down the road. Like, say China were to invade Taiwan and they were sanctioned in U.S. dollars. Well, if they can buy Russia from oil in their own currency and sell things to Brazil in their own currency, then the petrodollar becomes meaningless in that exchange. It's going to be challenging. I think energy is more complex than that anyway. I think at some point, based on who's producing it, where it's going, we're probably going to end up with two sort of independent energy markets. There's going to be the price that the U.S. charges and pays for energy produced domestically and energy produced Canada, Mexico, selling to Mexico, whatever, trading in Canada, like basically like friendly nations to this country that have allied with Japan, right?
Right.
That are going to they're going to have access to our market. And because we produce a lot of energy, relatively speaking, and we can sell it relatively cheaply, there's going to be that market. And then there's going to be the market of people paying exorbitant prices for everything, right?
Well, you say energy, you mean gas, right?
Energy, yeah, I mean, coal, gas, LNG.
Solar.
Well, no, I mean, that works domestically, but transmission is
Yeah, I was gonna
like
say-
it's,
True.
you can't bottle it up and send it
We're
anywhere.
not, we're
Okay.
not shipping electric.
Yeah, yeah.
Is what you're saying, right?
Shipping batteries, essentially.
But yeah, I think it's going to be probably. I think we're going to end up with a splintered energy market. We're going to have what some people in the world are paying, and what other people are in the world are paying. I mean, I think the U.S. in that respect is probably in a pretty strong position, but I'm not the expert on that.
I mean, that boils down to, isn't it just about how easy it is to get?
Well, it's how much you have, how many resources you have to produce it domestically, how much infrastructure you have to actually produce that, like to pull it out and produce energy out of it, and your access to shipping lanes to send it to other people for a price.
Right, because we're basically treating Russia like Cuba.
Yes.
Ish. I mean, the
Ish.
sanctions are pretty bad.
But it's essentially like, we don't want to talk to them. We don't want to deal with them.
But Russia has bigger problems. We've pulled all of our technical minds out of Russia, just like we did China.
Yeah.
Just like we did China for things like semiconductors, we did the same thing to Russia in the energy industry.
Now, did you see that Samsung said they were down 95%
Really?
because of semiconductor requirements?
I believe it.
Like the huge semiconductor market, just 95% profits down.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, global trade is going to change. We have to figure out how, and the people that are smart will make some money on it, but we're going to be looking at different markets 5 years from now than we are today.
Like where stuff's made.
Where stuff's made, how much it costs, where the materials are sourced, just across the board. I mean, the global supply chain is becoming something different. So. Anyway, well, before we drag this too deep into a
Yeah, that's a whole. We should research that. That's a whole other episode.
energy and digital currency
Digital currency.
coming soon.
Oh gosh.
You guys have anything else? Will?
No, I'm good.
Casey?
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, till next time, I'm
Right.
Lane.
I'm Will.
And I'm Casey.
Thanks for watching.
Ooh.
Still